right, what is going on, guys? It is another week of the NFL. We're closing in on the regular season. We have 2 more weeks of regular season games. So for those of you playing fantasy, this is going into the championship week. And we got 1 more week after that for anybody that's just a regular old viewer of the NFL. So I'm going to give you my top 10 teams going into this week. So it's not overall record, it's not who beat who, it's who's playing their best football going in. And the way I see the teams are coming together, playing really good football, and where we're at this point in the season. So at number 10, I've got the Jaguars. I watched Thursday Night Football and they manhandled the Jets. Sad for my fantasy football team, but that defense is playing really inspired football, and Trevor Lawrence is kind of turning it on a little bit. They're looking pretty good on the offense. I think the defense is definitely what made that game what it was with the Jets. Now, the weather was super cold, and the Jets' offensive game plan was super not them. It was a very strange offensive game plan for the Jets. Not running the ball as much. It was almost like they were trying to prove Wilson could throw the ball when, in fact, he can't. So I think that helped out. But the Jaguars' defense looked fantastic. They looked incredibly fast, and they were swarming to the football. It wasn't like 2 or 3 guys were going over there. Like 8 or 9 players were over there in on making tackles, or there in support to make the tackle. So I've got the Jaguars at 10. I think they're playing very inspired at this point in the season. Are they a contender? No, they're not. But are they playing really good football right now? Yeah, and I think they're one of the top 10 teams after Week 15. So give Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars the credit they're due over the last couple of weeks and what they're doing on the defense. So number 9, I've got the Ravens. It's almost like we just keep trying to wait for Lamar Jackson to come back. They did get past the Falcons this week, but it's tough. They have a really good record. They're not playing super inspired, but the defense is holding people down. They're figuring out ways to win games, and that's what matters, is figuring out a way to win the game. Granted, it's a very depleted Falcons team. They're not any good. The Falcons, sadly, are just terrible, and the worst division, which is the NFC South, is the worst division in the NFL this year by far. It's not even close. So Ravens at 9. 8, I've got the Chargers. I like Eckler. I like Mike Williams. I like Justin Herbert. I like the whole offensive side of the ball. And the defense is starting to creep up to get equal with the offense. I don't think they're a contender either, but they're playing really inspired, and Justin Herbert is doing a lot of great things. I think Eckler is a great piece that they have, that he is so knowledgeable, he's so experienced that it helps with the younger Herbert. And I think the Chargers have a really good mojo going right now. So I've got them at 8. I think they're playing pretty inspired football. 7, I've got the Vikings. I've said it week after week after week. We keep doubting the Vikings. We keep saying they're a terrible team, and then they win games. And in the NFL, that's what matters, is winning the ball game. So the Vikings did take down the Giants, who I was pretty high on last week. Not so much anymore. So the Vikings, while they're not really stopping anybody, Cousins just keeps doing what he needs to do, just to the point to win a 1-score game, because I think they're now 11-0 in 1-score games this year. So, until they just completely collapse and fall apart, they're a top 10 team. I know way more teams that are terrible and they're losing games. So, Vikings at 7. At 6, I've got the Cowboys with their big win over the Eagles. Now, the Eagles had an opportunity to go win. Jalen Hurts is out. They lose one of the offensive line. And even still, the Eagles could have gone and won that game. Now, Gardner Minshew didn't make the right reads. I don't think. He had a couple of open receivers, but he got stuck on the first read. So they did end up losing, so I put the Cowboys there. I think the defense is still pretty good, but they have waned in the last few weeks. And Dak Prescott's thumb is limiting him on things. The explosive play by T.Y. Hilton absolutely won the Cowboys that game. So shout out to T.Y. and those Cowboys over there that I have at 6. At number 5, I've got the Bills. And until Josh Allen figures out what is going on with Stephon Diggs, what is going on with Gabe Davis, he had multiple throws to Gabe Davis. Now, Davis did catch 1 touchdown in that game, but Diggs is his wide receiver 1, his main weapon, and got 2 catches the entire game for like 15 yards. Until they figure out what is going on the offense, I can't put them over the next 4 teams. I just can't. The offense is just, it's disconnected, I think is the word I'm going to use. The run game was there. Singletary tore off for a good bit. James Cook looked great as a rookie coming out of the backfield. But he was throwing to tight ends that I didn't even know were there. It's just, but in playoff time, when you need those clutch plays, you need your star power. And right now, the top 4 teams are improving those relationships, where it feels like the Bills are regressing their star power relationships, and that may come back to bite them in the playoffs. So just keep an eye out for that. That's why I have the Bills where they are. I know they've beat the Chiefs, but until somebody looks like Mahomes going to Kelsey in Buffalo, they're not a better team. I'm sorry. So I don't see that anywhere on the Bills. It's almost like Josh Allen wants to prove himself by running, which is eventually going to bite them as well. So Bills at 5. Next is Chiefs, who took down the Seahawks. Again, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I think the way Jalen gets the MVP is because he utilizes his legs so much more and works within their system. So I think Jalen Hurts gets the MVP, but the best quarterback in the league, to me, which I know sounds it's like an oxymoron. Well, how can he be the MVP and not the best quarterback? Well, I see it that way. So until somebody looks like Kelsey and Mahomes, the top 3 teams have that. And it's astonishing that one of them does, but the Chiefs still at 4. I think they have a very strong contention to win the Super Bowl, or at least get there. The biggest difficulty for them is going to be the Bengals. No doubt, it's going to be Joe Burrow, who Mahomes still hasn't beat. So that's where I've got them at 4. At 3, surprisingly, I have the Eagles. Not knowing where Jalen Hurts is coming back, losing one of your star offensive linemen, losing to the Cowboys, I just got to drop them. There's something, I like Gardner Minshew as a backup, but to get them where they want to go and the expectation that they set up for themselves, you need Jalen Hurts back, and they don't really know that timeline yet. So that may change next week. I think they're like 1 win away from securing the number 1 seed in the NFC, so that will give them an extra week of not having to play a game to get Hurts back if it does go that far. So, but the loss to the Cowboys hurts. That's a big rivalry for them, and they couldn't do it. They had great plays. Miles Sanders didn't, but Devontae Smith did, Brown did. So I still like the Eagles. I think they're a great team. Again, what I thought was going to hurt them ended up doing that. Playing from behind, trying to play catch up. They almost did it. And of course, it's a different ball game with Hurts in there. But if they go down by 2 touchdowns in any game, it's hard for me to see them clawing back out of that. So their defense did fantastic. Ended up getting them a touchdown to keep them in that game early. And the offense just couldn't move without Jalen. So that's where I've got the Eagles at 3. Number 2 is going to be the 49ers. I really thought they were going to jump off a cliff when Garoppolo went down. Jimmy G leaving I thought was going to hurt them, but Brock Purdy, maybe it's because the skills position players are so good that it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball, which very well may be the case, but Purdy's making good reads. He's making good decisions. CMC is stunning as a runner. It's insane at how good he is, and what Carolina could have done if they really utilized him and he was healthy when he was there. But the 49ers are showing exactly what they are, and that's really, really good at football. That defense plays inspired every week. They play team defense, and Ayuk looks great. Kittle went off again. Shout out John. We'll talk about the pizza later. Kittle went crazy. And I think they're the second best team in the league right now. They are a very dangerous team. I wouldn't want to play them in the first round or the second round of the playoffs. They look spectacular. There's a couple of teams that it would be a dogfight, and one of those is going to be the number one team, which is going to be the Bengals. I know the second half of that game, they needed that stop to win the game with New England, whatever, but there's something about watching Joe Burrow, and I've watched it since he was at LSU. When he needs to turn it on, he just turns it on. And he has the camaraderie with Chase. He has it with Mixon. And them having Mixon and Samaje Perine is great. They do need to utilize the run game more. But as it stands, him going out to the tight end 2 or the tight end 3 on the team twice to get those touchdowns, the Bengals look spectacular. Their defense plays lights out football, and it's kind of the Joe Burrow show. Now, I'm going to say that like it was with the Dolphins. It kind of runs through Burrow. I don't know how good they're going to be with a backup QB in, but for right now, as long as Burrow stays healthy, they're the best team in the league at this moment in the season. So the way I'm looking at it is Bengals, 49ers, and Eagles, with the Chiefs and the Bills knocking on the door right outside the top 3. We will see how it looks going into Week 16 games. Everybody, good luck in your championship games in fantasy. A quick pick for me. I'm not going to give you one. I'm going to make you wait for the Bro Opinions podcast. So if you want to see that, wait for the next video or go to Spotify, look up Bro Opinions, and check out the podcast while you're on your way home during the week between Christmas and New Year. That will be out tomorrow. So, all right, guys, thank you guys so much. It's been another great week of NFL football. This coming weekend is also the semifinals for college football, and I may be doing a live video previewing the TCU-Michigan matchup, and then the monster one for me is Georgia-Ohio State. Keep an eye out for that. If you want to be able to watch that live, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. It will let you know when I go live, and you can join in and watch me go crazy watching the Bulldogs this weekend, New Year's Eve. Everybody be safe this week and have fun. Fam Jam, I'm out.